Right now, somewhere in a forest in Borneo, there's this lizard, no longer than your finger, that walks to the tip of a branch and just steps off into open air. It should drop like a stone, right? Instead, these flaps of skin fan out along its ribs, and it glides 30 feet sideways straight to the next tree trunk. People call it Draco, the flying dragon. And honestly, it's the closest thing to a dragon nature ever bothered to build. Which leaves one real question. Why did it stop there? Nature spent 4 billion years building almost everything you can imagine. A beetle that shoots boiling acid out of its abdomen when threatened. A lizard 3 meters long with claws that can gut a water buffalo, venom in its bite, and a tongue like a forked yellow whip. Flying squirrels, flying fish, flying snakes that flatten their bodies and turn themselves into parachutes. Salamanders that can survive being frozen solid and thaw out alive. I mean, the list goes on, but a 4-legged, 2-winged reptile that breathes fire? That one never showed up. Evolution didn't just skip it once, it skipped it everywhere, across every continent, for hundreds of millions of years. And then, humans invented it anyway. The same creature, dreamed up independently, on opposite sides of the planet. You've got a giant serpent with wings in medieval Europe, a coiling snake god with feathers in the Americas, a fire-breathing monster guarding treasure in Scandinavia, and a rain-bringing serpent with claws in ancient China. The shapes shift, the core stays the same. Scales, wings, teeth, fire. So we're stuck with 2 questions, and honestly, they pull in opposite directions. If nature had every tool, every mutation, every accident to work with, why didn't it build a dragon? And if dragons are biologically impossible, why did every culture on Earth invent the exact same monster? Nature came close to building a dragon more than once, but it never let one animal have all the pieces at the same time. And that isn't bad luck. There are hard reasons. The first one is hiding in plain sight. A classic Western dragon has 4 legs and 2 wings. Add those up and you get 6 limbs. Every animal with a backbone, you, a bird, a snake, a whale, a tyrannosaurus, traces back to the same 4-limbed fish that first crawled out of the water. 4 limbs, that's the starting kit, and nobody since has ever been handed a spare pair. When a bird flies, it isn't using extra arms. Its wings are its arms. Bats did the same thing. So did those giant pterosaurs. To grow wings, a backbone animal has to give up its front legs and rebuild them into flight surfaces. You can have arms or you can have wings, but nature does not hand out both. A 4-legged, 2-winged dragon needs a body plan no backbone animal has ever had. It would have to break a 4-limbed rule that has held for more than 350 million years. The second reason is pure size. And here's the thing, the math does not flatter the dragon. Make any animal twice as long and it becomes roughly 8 times as heavy, but its bones and muscles only get about 4 times as strong. Scale a creature up far enough and its own weight begins to crush it from the inside. Quetzalcoatlus, one of the largest pterosaurs ever found, had a wingspan somewhere between 10 and 11 meters. It might have weighed more than 250 kilograms, and it represents the upper limit of what a flying vertebrate can be. Its bones were hollow, reinforced with internal struts thin as paper. It had to give up its front legs entirely to build those wings. That was the price. A dragon the size of a house would need bones thicker than tree trunks just to stand, and wings large enough to lift that weight would snap under their own mass before they ever left the ground. You could build the wings, but you could not lift them. So here's the kicker. The dragon you picture in your head, the one with 4 legs, 2 wings, and enough bulk to flatten a village, that body plan has never existed. Not once in 350 million years of backboned life on Earth, but humans invented it anyway, and we still believe in it. So if nature never built a dragon, where did the idea come from? Start with the bones. In the 4th century BCE, Greek historians wrote about giant skeletons weathering out of hillsides. Massive ribs, skulls longer than a man is tall. They had no word for dinosaur yet. That word wouldn't exist for another 2,000 years, so they called them them what they looked like: the remains of dragons. Adrian Mayer spent years tracing this pattern. Ancient Greeks finding fossils of extinct elephants and calling them cyclops. Chinese laborers unearthing protoceratops skulls in the Gobi Desert, complete with beaked jaws and bony frills, and deciding they'd found a dragon. Giant sauropod bones turning up in exactly the places where dragon legends were the strongest. The bones were real, the reconstruction, not so much. Here's the kicker. Richard Owen coined the term dinosauria in 1842, which means before that, every giant fossil ever dug up was just a dragon by another name. You can still see it in old Chinese pharmacy records. Powdered dragon bone, prescribed for everything from nightmares to impotence. It was dinosaur fossil, ground to dust. Nature got close to a dragon exactly once, and it's still alive. The Komodo Dragon. 3 meters long, 150 kilograms of muscle and appetite. A yellow, forked tongue longer than your hand. Jaws streaked with blood because the gum tissue tears naturally when it eats. It was discovered by Western science in 1910. Before that, locals on a handful of Indonesian islands knew it as ora, the land crocodile. It can sprint at 20 kilometers an hour in short bursts. It digs burrows up to 3 meters deep and sleeps in them to stay warm through the night. This is the closest thing to a dragon walking the earth right now, and it's also not really that close. Notice what it doesn't do. No flight, no fire, and it lives on 5 small islands, not across every continent like the dragon in our heads. So if dragons never existed, and fossils can't fully explain them, where did the idea even come from? Start with this. 39 out of every 100 people are afraid of snakes. Not because anyone taught them, but because they were born scared. David E. Jones spent years chasing that fear backward, and what he found wasn't random at all. It was inherited. Our ancestors were primates up in the trees, and for millions of years, 3 things hunted them without mercy. Pythons that could swallow one of us whole. Raptors with talons sharp enough to punch through a skull. And big cats built to kill in a single bite. Those 3 shapes, the serpent, the bird, the predator, they got burned so deep into the brain that we still flinch at a coiled rope on the floor. Dragons, Jones argued, are what you get when that old fear stops traveling through DNA and starts traveling through story instead. He called them a cultural fossil, and honestly, I think that's the most convincing answer anyone's landed on. Look at what the dragon is made of. It has the body of a serpent, the thing that could kill us quietly before we ever saw it coming. It has the claws of a raptor, because we spent ages learning to watch the sky. It carries the bulk and the roar of a great cat, because some part of us never stopped remembering what it was like to be food. And then the fire. Here's the kicker. The fire is ours. Nature never handed that part out. We bolted it on ourselves once we learned to carry a flame. Once it became the one weapon no animal on Earth could answer. So no, dragons were never real. But the thing that built them, that fear, that was as real as it gets. They've been living rent-free in our heads since before we had words to name them, which makes them real in a way bones never could be. Not real like an animal, real like a scar. We basically invented the perfect predator, and we've kept telling that story for thousands of years, generation handing it down to generation. Same as those primates handing down the fear of the snake. Plot twist. Dragons aren't the only monster we built out of fear. There's another one that keeps showing up. Myth after myth, culture after culture, always wearing the same face. It hunts at night. It's always hungry. And here's the part that gets me. Unlike the dragon, this one, plenty of people still swear is out there. Full source list on screen with journal citations. Dig into the sources yourself, link below. And if you want more buried origins like this one, you know what to do.